Welcome to Small Biz Mama, episode 13, the next position you should hire in your business. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Kristen, how could you possibly know what my next hire should be? Because most of you don't have this person in your organization. You either don't have any help at all and you're running everything on your own, or you've hired lots of other people, but you've not hired this person yet. I know this because I have been in business this long and I am just hiring this person now. You need an executive assistant. All right, I know the things, I can't afford an executive assistant. I don't even know what an executive assistant would do, but it sounds very highbrow and it's not something that I need. I get it. So a couple things you need to know about executive assistants. So first off, I'll put this link to the book in the show notes. But I got this book from Michael Hyatt called Your World-Class Assistant. You can get it at michaelhyatt.com. Again, if you go to smallbizmama.com for episode 13, I will link this in the show notes, okay? So one of the things that I have really been struggling with in our business is keeping myself organized and on task and not overscheduling myself. I often get caught up in like the minutia of the business. And I know lots of you are in the same position, right? You're in the same spot. And so I read this book, and it's really, really short. I mean, it's a quick read, and a lot of it is like procedural stuff. Like this is a little bit on like why you need the person and what they can do for you. And there's lots of resources, there's lots of checklists, there's lots of stuff to help you actually hire the person. It's a really, really good book. It's very practical. And so what I found, from going through this book and taking a look at it, is that a lot of the things that I'm getting stuck with, that I'm dealing with, I should not be dealing with at all. That I should be farming this stuff out to someone else. And so that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing. So I think, the thing that a lot of people tend to get bogged down in when they start thinking about getting help in their business is that they think that everything has to be full-time, right? And I know that many of you don't realize just how many people are out there. A lot of them like you. I know a lot of people who listen to the show are service providers in various forms. Some of you are bookkeepers. Some of you are virtual assistants. Some of you are growing into agencies with your virtual assistant services. Some of you, your accountants, your lawyers, it's all over the gamut, the people who listen to the show. And I think that that's awesome. I think one of the issues that we have, though, is that we don't realize, like, hey, we have our little niche of things that we do, right? And I know a lot of you have hired social media managers, and you've hired online business managers, and you've hired all sorts of different positions for your business on a part-time basis. And this is another position that you can start with on a part-time basis. And I can't tell you, it's funny, the more people I'm talking to, the more excited I get about filling this position. Because we're really starting to look at what I can get off my plate. One of the things that I really struggle with, and I know a lot of women struggle with this, is that we're being very reactive. Right? So when people want time in our calendar, we want to help them, right? We want to give them that time. And so we need someone to kind of be that guardian of our schedule. And an EA can help you with that. An EA can be proactive to remind you of all the things that you need to remember in your business. So for example, okay, I was thinking about this today. So one of the first things that my executive assistant and I are going to do is we're going to put together a full calendar year master schedule. And I know you're thinking like, my God, that just sounds crazy. Like, why would you do that? So there are a lot of things in our business that are very cyclical, right? So with my schedule, and I'm not just thinking about like my schedule in the businesses, but I'm thinking about my broader schedule, right? Because, I'm still teaching courses at the university. So the way that my year works, and it's kind of messed up this year because of the extension for tax season and everything going on with COVID. But essentially what normally happens is the spring semester ends. I have 7 weeks until my summer course starts, which always, needs some revision because I'm teaching taxes and things are they're always changing. And things are always changing. And then once that course ends, the fall semester begins. And some years there's no breaks in between. It's like literally one class ends and the next day, the next class begins. And that's a full course schedule, right? So I'm normally teaching 4 courses in the fall. Then that ends and I have about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks off, depending on the year, and what my final schedule looks like. And then tax season and the spring semester start at the same time. Tax season ends, then I have the last week of course and finals. Finals end, I have a week of meetings to wrap up the semester, and then I get that 6-week period off again, right? So I need somebody, right? So now it's like June, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I have to get all my continuing education done. I have to get all my tax returns wrapped up because tax season got extended. I've got, we're doing launches for bookkeeper training school. I'm planning my fall semester. I'm planning my summer course. I need somebody to kind of come alongside me. And like in July, when I'm not thinking about continuing education anymore, because I just finished all my continuing education for the prior year, go, hey, Kristen, why don't you schedule 4 hours of continuing education this month? So you can do a little bit every month and not have to pack it all in the last like 3 months of the year. Okay, something like that. Somebody that comes alongside me and says, I looked at your schedule for next week and you've got way too much going on. You've really got to pull some things back. Or in October, they start working on my engagement letters for my clients for tax season, for the next tax season. Okay. So, those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking about in an executive assistant. How can they help me run things more smoothly? It's even funny, like yesterday, I looked at Jeff and I'm like, we need paper. We're almost out of paper. We have like 1 ream of paper left. And it's like, so I went online and I figured out, okay, this is the best deal on paper. But it's like, I actually had to do that, right? And yeah, it took 10 minutes, but it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts all day long, right? And I know most of you small business owners, you're dealing with that, right? You're just, I've got to make that, we were supposed to have a bulk pickup this week and the trash company didn't pick it up. That's something I could have had my executive assistant do. I could have had them order paper. I could have them, making sure that all my deliveries that I have, because we've got stuff delivered almost every day now, that everything is coming in, right? And nothing has gotten lost. And, little things like that just eat up chunks of your day. It's a lot. It really is. So you might be thinking, okay, so this sounds great, right? So how do you find this person? So what we did, and I can post some links for you in the show notes, but I have a couple friends who run courses that train folks to do this. They actually train folks to be virtual assistants, and a lot of the people who applied weren't just executive assistants, but they were also, they had experience with social media, they had experience with organization, they had, all sorts of different skills. I mean, it was really amazing, the folks that applied. And, and they all have their own businesses. And so you can start on a very limited basis. We're starting at about 10 hours a week. And then depending on the skill set of the person, we might actually expand that out some more right away if there are things that they can do. That's awesome. Like, I think that's, that's great. And it really helps, it helps make me more productive, right? Because I'm very limited in the number of hours I have in the office right now. And so I really need, to be strategic about what I can pull off my plate. So, one thing that we did is we did a very rigorous application. And if you want, I can put a link to that application in the show notes for this episode. So that way you can check it out. We had them do a couple assessments for us, and they were all free. But a couple assessments that told us actually quite a bit when you put all three of them together. I thought it was actually kind of cool. We asked a lot of questions. We asked about the software we use. We asked about just kind of some core competencies. But that gave us a lot of information to start with. And then we posted it on our page. We posted it in a couple groups that we know train, virtual assistants. And then I just posted it on our page. I posted it on our page and I shared it to my wall. And I had a couple other people that they shared it out for me. So, and we got just some phenomenal candidates. And I'm super excited to get this going and to move the process forward. So the thing that I want you to think about is I want you to think about, and it's funny because when I started to think about we're going to hire an executive assistant, at first I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to have this person do. Like, I know I need one, right? And the book's like, you need one, and these are the things. But as we're actually going through the process, I'm starting to think, well, if I had an executive assistant, they could do that. And if I had an executive assistant, they could do that. So I want you to think about over the next week, think about if you hired an executive assistant, what could you have them do? And just start thinking about, like, if I hired an executive assistant, and as you're going through your week, you're going to go, oh, I could have had him do this, and I could have had him do that, and I could have had him do this. And it's really kind of cool. I'd love to know, if you hired an executive assistant for your business, what would you have them take off your plate? Okay, you can put it in the comments to the show notes at smallbizmama.com. Remember, this is episode 13. You can post it on our YouTube channel, anywhere you find us. And don't worry, if you go to smallbizmama.com, it will show you all the places that you can connect with me. But I'd love to know, if you hired an executive assistant, what would you take off your plate? All right, so let us know. I can't wait to get your ideas, because they might end up on my list of things that I'm going to have my executive assistant do for me. All right, guys, thank you so much. I will see you next week. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Mama with Kristen Ingram. If you'd like to learn how to create more margin in your life, please visit us at smallbizmama.com. That's smallbizmama.com.